There is a silent image that travels with you everywhere. Nobody else can see it, touch it, or hear it. It has no physical form, no color, and no sound. Yet, it quietly shapes the way you speak, the choices you make, the chances you take, and the future you create. It is the image you carry of yourself. Before the world recognizes you, you have already formed an opinion of who you are. And before success becomes visible in your life, it first exists as a possibility within your mind. Many people spend years trying to change their external circumstances while holding tightly to the same internal identity that created those circumstances. They want confidence, but deep down, they believe they are not enough. They desire wealth, but they continue seeing themselves through the eyes of limitation. They dream about achievement, but their inner conversation keeps preparing them for failure. The answer is simple, yet powerful. You cannot continuously create a life that goes beyond the image you believe about yourself. Think about someone who truly sees themselves as healthy. They naturally make decisions that protect their body. Someone who sees themselves as a person who learns and grows will search for knowledge without needing to be pushed. Someone who believes they can overcome difficulties will look at challenges as opportunities to become stronger instead of reasons to give up. Identity comes before effort. This is why two people can face the exact same situation and respond in completely different ways. One person sees an opportunity and feels excitement. Another sees the same opportunity and feels fear. The situation did not change. The difference was the person's perception of themselves. Imagine looking into a mirror. If you dislike what you see, you could spend hours cleaning the mirror, changing the lighting, or decorating the frame. But none of those things would transform the reflection staring back at you. The only way the reflection changes is when the person standing in front of the mirror changes. Your outside world often reflects the beliefs, expectations, and thoughts you repeatedly carry inside. This is why real transformation does not begin with changing everything around you. It begins with changing the identity within you. Ask yourself this question: who are you when nobody is watching? Not the version you show to others. Not the version you present on social media, but the person you become when you are alone with your own thoughts. Does that inner voice support you, or does it constantly remind you of your past mistakes? Does it tell you that success is meant for others, or does it remind you that you are capable of creating something greater? A thought repeated often becomes familiar. A familiar thought begins to feel true. A belief that feels true starts influencing your choices, and those choices become habits that slowly build your future. This is why changing your life is not only about changing what you do, it is about transforming the person who is doing it. Imagine an eagle that grows up surrounded by chickens. If that eagle spends its entire life believing it belongs on the ground, it may never discover the power of its wings. Not because it lacks the ability to fly, but because it accepted a smaller version of itself. Many people live the same way. They carry incredible potential while accepting unnecessary limitations. They remain in situations that do not fulfill them, not because they are forced to, but because their own self-image has convinced them they are not worthy of something better. Every dream begins with permission. Permission to believe that a different life can exist. Permission to imagine yourself as someone greater. Permission to stop allowing the past to introduce you to the future. Your past can explain your journey, but it does not have the authority to define your destination. A mistake does not become your identity. A failure does not become your identity. A rejection does not become your identity. Those moments are experiences, lessons, and chapters in your story, but they are not the entire book. The most important shift you can make is to stop asking, "What do I need to get?" and start asking, "Who do I need to become?" Because what you attract and create in life often follows the person you become internally. Imagine someone carrying an old, damaged map. Every path on that map leads them back to the same destination. No matter how much effort they put into the journey, they keep ending up in the same place. Many people are living with an outdated map of themselves. One created by criticism they heard growing up, painful experiences, rejection, comparison, fear, and the opinions other people placed upon them. Every decision they make passes through that old map, and then they wonder why their results continue repeating. The map must change before the destination can change. Your self-image is that map. Every day, life quietly asks you one question: who are you? Most people never answer with words. They answer through their actions, through the way they handle challenges, through the risks they avoid or embrace, through their confidence or hesitation, through their discipline, their consistency, and the standards they choose to live by. The world responds to the identity you repeatedly show it. Change the image within you, and you begin changing the reality around you. Every chapter from your past remains a part of your story. You cannot erase those pages, but you do have complete power over what you write next. Many people stop creating their story after one painful moment because they assume a difficult chapter means the entire book is finished. But it is not. Every new morning gives you another blank page, another chance to think differently, speak differently, act differently, and become a different version of yourself. No one else can write that page for you, and no one else can decide what kind of person you will become. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting until they feel completely transformed before they begin acting differently. Identity is not created only through thoughts and intentions. It is built through action. If you want to become confident, begin choosing courage even when you feel uncertain. Speak up even when your voice shakes. If you want to become disciplined, start by keeping one small promise to yourself every single day. If you want to become successful, begin making choices that your future self will thank you for. Every action becomes evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief shapes identity, and identity creates reality. Transformation rarely happens through one powerful moment. Most of the time, it happens quietly, through the better decision you make today, the healthier thought you choose tomorrow, and the stronger habit you repeat over time. Then one day you look back and realize you no longer respond to life the way you once did. The fears that used to control you no longer have the same power. The excuses that once sounded reasonable no longer convince you. The confidence you were searching for has slowly become a natural part of who you are. That is how permanent change happens. Not through one emotional experience, but through thousands of small moments where you choose the person you want to become. There will be days when your old identity tries to return. Old fears may appear. Old habits may call you back. Old doubts may try to remind you of who you used to be. Do not let those moments discourage you. Every meaningful transformation comes with resistance. A tree does not stop growing when the wind becomes stronger. Instead, it develops deeper roots and becomes stronger. You must do the same. Stay committed to the person you are becoming, even when your current reality has not caught up with your vision yet. The biggest changes often happen silently before they become visible. Continue seeing yourself as the person you choose to become. Continue making decisions that match that future version of yourself. Continue refusing to let yesterday define who you are today. One day, you will look back and realize the greatest miracle was not that your circumstances changed. The greatest miracle was that you changed first. And once you changed, everything around you began to shift. There comes a moment in every powerful transformation when you realize the biggest limitation was never the world around you. It was the identity you were afraid to challenge. For years, you may have believed your limitations were permanent. You may have believed your fears were facts. You may have believed your past had already decided what your future would look like. But what if those beliefs were never the truth? What if they were only stories you repeated so often that they began to feel real? Think about a sculptor creating a masterpiece from a piece of stone. The sculptor does not create beauty by adding something that was missing. They reveal beauty by removing everything that does not belong. Your life works in a similar way. The strongest version of yourself is not someone you need to create from nothing. It is someone you uncover by releasing the beliefs that have been hiding your true potential. Every limiting thought is another layer covering your strength. Every excuse hides your ability. Every fear tries to convince you to remain exactly where you are. But fear is not always a trustworthy guide. Fear promises protection, but it often prevents growth. It may keep you comfortable, but comfort alone cannot create fulfillment. Deep within you, there is a quiet voice that already knows you are capable of more. Not because life will suddenly become effortless, but because something inside you understands that your story is not over. Listen to that voice. Strengthen that voice. Give power to that voice, because the voice you choose to follow repeatedly will eventually shape the reality you experience. Many people spend years asking, when will my life finally change? Perhaps the more powerful question is, when will I stop introducing myself to life as the person I used to be? Every morning gives you a choice. Will you wake up carrying yesterday's identity, or will you step into today's possibility? Most people overlook the power hidden inside ordinary mornings. But ordinary mornings are where extraordinary futures are quietly created. The thoughts you choose before the world demands your attention, the words you speak to yourself before anyone else influences you, and the habits you practice before excuses have the opportunity to appear, are shaping the direction of your entire life. Imagine walking through a forest and choosing the same path every day. Over time, that path becomes easier because your repeated footsteps have cleared the way. Now imagine choosing a completely different path. At first, it feels uncomfortable. There are obstacles, uncertainty, and resistance. You may even question whether you are moving in the right direction. But if you continue walking that new path consistently, something changes. The old path slowly becomes less familiar. The new path begins to feel natural. Your mind works in exactly the same way. The thoughts you repeat become familiar. What becomes familiar begins to feel comfortable. What feels comfortable eventually becomes automatic. That is why transformation requires repetition. Because you are teaching your mind a completely new way of living, you must be patient with yourself when old habits occasionally return. Growth is not measured by never making mistakes or never slipping back into familiar patterns. It is measured by your willingness to rise again and refuse to remain where you fell. Every time you choose your new identity again, you strengthen it. Every time you reject an old excuse, you weaken its hold on you. Every time you keep a promise you made to yourself, you become someone your future can depend on. Self-trust is one of the greatest forms of strength you can develop, because without trust in yourself, every opportunity feels overwhelming and every challenge feels impossible. But when you believe in your own ability, difficulties become something you can face, endure, and overcome. Self-trust is not created in a single moment. It is built quietly over time through one promise kept, one courageous choice, and one disciplined action repeated until it becomes part of your character. Think about the people you admire most. They are not remembered only because they achieved impressive things. They are remembered because their actions reflected the person they believed themselves to be. Their identity remained steady even when life became uncertain. And that is what true strength looks like. Strength is not pretending fear does not exist. Strength is refusing to allow fear to decide the direction of your life. Your circumstances will always change. Life will bring seasons of growth and seasons of waiting, moments of celebration and moments of disappointment. If your identity depends only on your circumstances, your confidence will constantly rise and fall. But when your identity is built on your values, your discipline, your purpose, and your commitment to becoming better, temporary storms lose their ability to define you. You become like a lighthouse standing against the ocean. The waves may rise, the winds may become stronger, and darkness may surround you. Yet you continue standing because your foundation reaches deeper than the storm. That foundation is created long before anyone notices it. It is built in the quiet moments when you choose gratitude instead of bitterness, learning instead of complaining, responsibility instead of excuses, and growth instead of comfort. These invisible choices eventually create visible results. People may call it confidence, success, or even luck, but you will know the truth. It was identity. Long before your life changed on the outside, your perception of yourself changed on the inside. Long before opportunities appeared, you became the kind of person who was prepared to recognize them. Long before doors opened, you became the person willing to step through them. One day, you will meet someone who reminds you of who you used to be. And in that moment, you will understand how far you have traveled. Not because life became perfect, but because you are no longer the person who allowed imperfection to become a reason to stop moving forward. That is the quiet victory, the kind nobody can take away from you. Once you truly change the way you see yourself, you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to become who you were always capable of becoming. You stop asking the world to believe in you first. You begin believing in yourself. And from that moment forward, every decision becomes a reflection of the person you have chosen to become, not the person your past tried to convince you that you were. The most beautiful part of transformation is that it often begins long before anyone else can recognize it. The world sees the results, but it rarely sees the choices that created them. It sees confidence, but it does not see the years spent fighting through uncertainty and self-doubt. It sees success, but it does not see the countless moments when you wanted to quit but chose to continue. It sees the breakthrough, but it does not see the quiet inner transformation that made that breakthrough possible. This is why many people misunderstand growth. They believe change begins when their circumstances improve. But the truth is often the opposite. Your circumstances begin improving because something within you has already changed. Your life is constantly responding to the person you believe yourself to be, not instantly and not perfectly, but consistently over time. If you see yourself as powerless, you will unknowingly give away your own strength. If you believe you are limited, you will naturally avoid opportunities that could take you beyond those limits. But if you see yourself as someone who can learn, adapt, grow, and overcome challenges, you begin making choices that support that belief, and the world starts responding differently because you are responding differently. Life is not simply giving you experiences. It is constantly reflecting the identity you carry within yourself. Think about the person you desire to become, the confident version of yourself, the disciplined version, the successful version, the peaceful version, the person who lives with abundance and purpose. That person is not waiting somewhere in the distant future. That person is being created through the decisions you make today. Every choice is a vote. Every habit is a vote. Every thought you repeatedly accept is a vote. You are constantly voting for the person you are becoming. And the question is not whether you are creating an identity, but which identity you are choosing to create. Many people wait for proof before they believe in themselves. They say, when I become successful, then I will feel confident. When my life improves, then I will feel grateful. When opportunities appear, then I will believe I am capable. But life often works in the opposite direction. Confidence comes first. Gratitude comes first. Belief comes first. The internal shift happens before the external evidence appears. And that is why patience is so important. A seed planted today does not become a tree tomorrow. Yet beneath the surface, something is already happening. It is growing quietly, silently, and invisibly, until one day what was hidden becomes impossible to ignore. Your transformation works the same way. Never underestimate what is happening beneath the surface. Every disciplined choice is a seed. Every courageous action is a seed. Every time you reject an old limitation and choose a stronger belief, you are planting a seed. The results may not appear immediately, but growth is taking place. Stay committed to the process. Stay committed to the vision. Stay committed to the person you are becoming. There will be moments when your old identity tries to pull you back. Old fears may return. Old habits may call for your attention. Old doubts may remind you of your previous failures. Let those thoughts appear, but do not allow them to control your direction. You are not required to remain the person you once were, simply because that person existed in your past. Growth gives you permission to change. Growth gives you permission to outgrow old stories. Growth gives you permission to rewrite the meaning of your life. And when you truly accept that, your future begins opening in ways you never imagined. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from now. The version of you who continued even when things were difficult. The version who believed even when results were slow. The version who stayed committed when nobody else could see the progress. The version who stopped identifying with fear and started identifying with possibility. What would that future version of you say today? Maybe the message would be simple. Thank you. Thank you for continuing. Thank you for believing. Thank you for not giving up when the old version of yourself wanted to return. Because every choice you make today is creating the person you will become tomorrow. And one day, you will look back and realize that every difficult moment was shaping you into someone stronger. The challenges you once questioned, the delays you once hated, and the moments when you felt uncertain were not wasted. They were building your character. They were teaching you patience, resilience, and the strength to continue when things were not easy. You will realize that the person you became was created through the moments when nobody was watching. The mornings when you chose discipline instead of comfort. The nights when you continued believing despite doubt. The times when you chose growth even when staying the same felt easier. Those invisible decisions were creating the foundation of the life you wanted. Never underestimate the power of becoming. The person you are building today may not receive recognition immediately, but every step matters. Every small improvement matters. Every time you choose a better thought, a better action, or a better response, you are moving closer to the version of yourself you once imagined. Your future is not created in one giant moment. It is created through thousands of small moments where you choose who you want to be. The world may only see the final result, but you will always know the journey that created it. You will know the battles you fought, the fears you overcame, and the strength you discovered along the way. So continue becoming, continue believing, continue choosing the person you know you are capable of being. The identity you build today will become the reality you experience tomorrow. And one day, you will look back with gratitude, not because the journey was easy, but because you had the courage to keep going until your inner transformation became your outer reality. The greatest transformation in life is not when the world finally recognizes you. It is when you finally recognize yourself. Before anyone sees your confidence, success, or strength, there is a private journey happening inside you. It begins with the small moments when you choose discipline over comfort, belief over doubt, and growth over fear. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes proof that you are becoming someone new. Every time you rise after falling, you rewrite the story you once believed about yourself. The world only sees the final result, but you know the invisible battles, the silent decisions, and the inner changes that created it. Real transformation begins within, because the life you experience can only rise to the level of the person you believe yourself to be. Your future is not waiting for you somewhere ahead. It is being shaped by the identity you practice today. Every thought you accept, every habit you repeat, and every choice you make is creating the person you are becoming. Do not wait for success to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, and you begin creating the actions that lead to success. The outer world changes when the inner world changes first. A seed does not become a tree overnight, yet nobody doubts that growth is happening beneath the surface. Your transformation works the same way. Even when you cannot see results, every disciplined action, every courageous decision, and every moment you choose a better version of yourself is creating something powerful. Keep growing in silence. One day, the world will see what you were building all along. Transformation is a quiet promise you make to yourself before it becomes a reality everyone else can see. The world celebrates the person you become, but it rarely understands the battles that created that person. It does not see the mornings when you chose discipline over excuses, the moments when you chose faith over fear, or the times when you continued even when progress felt invisible. But those moments were never meaningless. They were the foundation being built beneath the surface. Every small decision was shaping your character, and every difficult season was preparing you for the life you once imagined. The person you become is not created in a single day of motivation. It is created through consistency. It is created when you choose the harder path because you know it leads somewhere greater. It is created when you keep promises to yourself even when nobody is watching. Each time you choose growth, you send a message to your mind. This is who I am now. Over time, those choices become habits. Those habits become identity, and that identity becomes your reality. Never judge your progress only by what you can see. A tree does not look different every day, yet beneath the soil, its roots are growing stronger. Your life works the same way. There are seasons when nothing appears to be changing, but deep within you, something is shifting. Your mindset is expanding. Your confidence is growing. Your ability to handle challenges is becoming stronger. The invisible work you do today will eventually create visible results. One day, you will meet a version of yourself that you once only dreamed about. You will look back at the moments when you felt lost, uncertain, and afraid, and you will realize those moments were not there to break you, they were there to build you. The struggles you survived became the strength you carry. The lessons you learned became the wisdom you use. The person you are today is proof that you never stopped becoming. Your past may have influenced your beginning, but it does not control your ending. You are always being given another opportunity to choose differently, think differently, and live differently. Every morning is another chance to step closer to the person you want to become. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel completely ready. Begin with one choice, one action, one belief. A new life is created the same way a new identity is created, one decision at a time. The greatest victory is not proving others wrong. The greatest victory is becoming someone you are proud to be. It is waking up and realizing that the fears that once controlled you no longer have power over you. It is understanding that the person you were searching for was never far away. That person was being created every time you chose courage, patience, discipline, and belief. The future version of you is built by the choices you make today.